Malta's history is an enthralling one. UNESCO has described it as one of the most concentrated historic areas in the world, and a particularly fascinating period is that of the Knights. Francis Vassallo has offered to teach me more. It'll be my very first encounter with a real-life knight.
Tuitio Fidei, observum pauperum, which means defend the faith and fight and help the poor. Fight, help the poor and the sick. So that is what our mission is today. We're no longer a fighting army, a fighting order. We are a religious, hospitable order. This is the palace of the Grand Master, which today is the palace of the President of the Republic of Malta. It was built obviously as the palace of the Grand Master immediately after the foundation of Valletta in 1566. It also became the seat of the British, and the governor representing the Queen of England was here. So this was the office of the governor, with all the palace of the governor, with the state throne, state rooms, dining rooms and all. This room is the official, or was rather, the official dining chamber of the order, and it's, as you can see on top here, is the painting of the Queen of England. She was the Queen of Malta when Malta became independent in 1964 until 1974. Now this is the stateroom. This is the official stateroom.
This is magnificent.
And here we have the beautiful frescoes,
yes,
which depict exactly the siege of Malta. And all the texts were surrounding Fort St. Angelo. We were talking about over 40,000 texts with a complement of Maltese, including knights, Maltese and mercenaries. We're talking about 9,000, so 42 against 9,000. And this was that's why it's called the Great Siege of Malta. Once again, decorated with the frescoes up above depicting of the Knights of Malta. And here we're talking about, if you see, come inside a bit here, you can see in here, you can see also the battle of the texts in the various scenes of the knights during the battle, the detail, the painting, yes. And it's all depicting the battle, the great battle of Malta. And I must repeat, people refer to it as a normal battle. It is a great battle because thanks to this battle in 1565 Europe remained Christian, okay? Because otherwise the Ottoman Empire would have overwhelmed the whole European continent. The Maltese flag was white and red, just white and red. It derives from Count Roger, okay, the Norman. Count Roger, the Norman, who protected Malta, who came to Malta way back in 800, to oust the Moorish domination of Malta. His flag, Count Roger, was a checkered white and red flag. And he gave us a part of the checker, the red and the white, which became our flag. After the war, in 1942, when we were awarded the George Cross as a nation, it was the only nation being awarded the George Cross for gallantry, then we put the George Cross on our flag. Okay? But the original flag was red and white, and then on the top left-hand side now we have the George Cross as part of our flag. We are at the Upper Baracca Gardens. These were the gardens built by the Knights of Malta for them to have their own leisure. We are here overlooking, and will be overlooking, the great Grand Harbour of Malta, which is, number one of the largest natural grand harbours in the world, which is why Malta was sought for by every authority in the Mediterranean in those days. From the Phoenicians, Carthaginians, Romans, Greeks, the Arabs, and then subsequently the Knights of Malta came here, and then after that the French took over, and then the British for 165 years, and all because of this grand harbour. My mother was born in Gibraltar. She was the daughter of Biagio d'Amato. When the Spanish Civil War had started, obviously my grandfather sent my mother with her two sisters, sent them to Malta because he had relatives, family in Malta. And on the ship coming from Gibraltar to Malta, she met my father, who was coming back from Oxford University. When we look at any heritage in the world, you always look, like you're looking at buildings, you look at the past, what the knights built for Malta. Gibraltar for me is my past, and therefore I cherish my past, I honor my past, and I welcome my past, and Gibraltar brings me very, very nice memories, and because it is basically the foundation of my family.
Mario, Malta's history is rich, long, and incredibly varied. But let's focus for the minute on Gibraltar and Malta, the links it shares, its similarities.
What I would call two mistakes of history, because both are very small, both have their own identity, Gibraltar and Malta, and if you consider things as they are, they shouldn't really exist.
Yes.
But we exist, we are thriving, and of course, we need to work more in order to accentuate our individuality, but also our commonality. And besides the fact that there are so many Maltese in Gibraltar now, which are a direct result, of course, of British naval policy, its expansion in the Mediterranean and its building of the dockyard. Many Maltese reached Gibraltar specifically for that job, and then they stayed on.
Yes.
The first occasion when I came to Gibraltar, and I went into Main Street, I said, well, this is like being a Valletta, in Main Street Valletta. It's almost identical. The colors of the flag are the same, and the complexion of people is essentially the same. And then there were other surprises.
Let's talk a little bit about the 100-ton gun, because that's quite significant. There is one in Gibraltar, and then there's one behind us there.
Yes.
The only two in the world.
Indeed. You are luckier, because your gun is more complete. You still have a complete Rema, because these guns were the first in history to rely on a mechanical setup for their operation. They were too heavy to be worked by hand.
Yeah.
So obviously, William Armstrong, who was also the inventor of the hydraulic accumulator, amongst many other things, applied hydraulic mechanics, steam-driven hydraulic mechanics, in order to traverse this gun, lift the ammunition to the gun from underground, and also ram it home. And all of that could be done in just 6 minutes. Imagine, you're talking about the 1880s, when everyone still relied on his feet and on his arms to do anything in life, you know, or perhaps on, you know, their horse.
Yeah.
Whereas in these batteries in Gibraltar and Malta, you had essentially the most advanced war machines that existed.
We're 1,000 miles from comfort. We have traveled land and sea. But as long as you are with me, there's no place I'd rather be.
St. Julian's and Patcherville are Malta's nightlife hotspots. The hedonistic party crowd have claimed this little bay, and right in the heart of it you can find Peppino's. This restaurant offers spectacular views, as well as a mouth-watering menu. But perhaps its most enticing attraction is its clientele.
Tony, in the last 22 years working in one of those popular restaurants in Malta, I would imagine you've got some great stories to tell.
Well, I mean, at one stage, Peppino's was like a little mini Hollywood. We had 3 great films in Malta: Gladiator, Troy, and U571. And they were filmed in Malta around about 2000, 2001, something like that. And we used to have all the film stars coming here for dinner in the evening. And it was really, really interesting. We've had John Bon Jovi here, Russell Crowe, Matthew McConaughey's been here, Joaquin Phoenix, and many, many more. I mean,
Brad Pitt, I would imagine.
Yes, I forgot Brad Pitt. You know, and he was a really, really nice guy.